This time, BYD has taken a different approach. While electric vehicles are gaining popularity worldwide, this development isn't just about EVs or batteries, it's about a new kind of hybrid engine. At first, the news didn't seem very significant, but as more details came out, it started making waves across the automotive industry. The big question is, has BYD created something entirely new, an engine that's neither a fully electric vehicle nor a traditional petrol system, but a powerful combination of both that could change the game? BYD's hybrid engine is designed for people who are tired of worrying about charging, but are also frustrated with rising petrol and diesel prices. On the outside, the car may look ordinary, but the technology inside is what truly sets it apart. According to claims, this engine delivers a longer driving range while using less fuel. It offers a smooth driving experience and adapts easily to different conditions, whether you're driving in the city or cruising on the highway. What's even more interesting is that BYD isn't presenting this hybrid system as just another option. It's positioning it as a necessity for the future, even as other companies continue following more conventional paths. BYD has chosen a different direction, and that's likely why the discussion around it has expanded beyond China to regions like Asia and Europe. Still, one key question remains. What makes this hybrid engine so significant that it's keeping major automotive companies on edge? And could this technology become the preferred choice for everyday consumers in the coming years? To find out, keep watching until the end. Before we move ahead, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss similar content in the future. Now, before diving deeper into BYD's new engine, it's important to understand the company itself. To truly appreciate any innovation, you need to know where it comes from, how the company started, where it stands today, and what it has achieved over the years. BYD's success didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of consistent effort, smart decisions, and the ability to recognize opportunities at the right time. Interestingly, many people don't know that BYD didn't begin as a car manufacturer. It was founded in China in 1995, focusing entirely on mobile phone batteries. At a time when brands like Nokia and Motorola dominated the market, BYD worked behind the scenes as a battery supplier. This experience helped the company build deep expertise in battery technology, which later became one of its greatest strengths. In 2003, BYD entered the automobile industry, a move that surprised many. People questioned how a battery company could start making cars, but BYD had a different vision. Today, BYD is far more than just a car manufacturer. It operates across multiple sectors, including electric vehicles, hybrids, batteries, electric buses, trucks, and energy storage solutions. In recent years, its strong focus on technology has caught the attention of the global auto industry, especially in the battery space. One of its notable innovations is the Blade battery, which gained recognition for its improved safety and longer lifespan. The goal wasn't just to increase driving range, but also to solve real-world issues like battery fires and failures. When it comes to hybrid technology, BYD didn't adopt it out of necessity. It was a strategic decision. While much of the world was rapidly shifting toward fully electric vehicles, BYD understood that not every country, city, or customer was ready for that transition. With this in mind, the company developed its DMI and DMP hybrid systems. In these systems, the petrol engine plays a smaller role, while the electric motor takes priority. This approach results in better fuel efficiency, smoother performance, and significantly reduced charging concerns. Looking at BYD's sales figures, the company has seen steady growth in recent years. Last year alone, it sold over 3 million vehicles globally, including both electric and hybrid models. This is an impressive number, showing that customers trust not only BYD's EVs but also its hybrid technology. Beyond China, BYD is steadily expanding its presence across Asia, Europe, and other international markets. In recent years, the company hasn't just been selling cars. It has been promoting a broader vision that the future of mobility won't rely on a single solution, but rather a mix of technologies working together. In some regions, electric vehicles are the ideal solution, while in others, hybrids make far more practical sense. That's exactly why BYD isn't limiting itself to just one type of technology. The company is actively working on batteries, motors, software, and improving engine efficiency all at once. So, why did BYD choose to invest in hybrids during a time when the entire world seems focused on EVs? Instead of blindly following the trend, BYD paused and carefully analyzed the situation. The company fully agrees that electric vehicles represent the future. There's no doubt about that. But the real question is whether that future looks the same for everyone, everywhere, and in every situation. This is where BYD stands apart from many other automakers. While most companies were focused on maximizing EV sales, BYD was trying to understand something deeper. Why are people still hesitant to switch? What's stopping them from leaving petrol and diesel cars behind? One of the biggest concerns is charging infrastructure. On paper and in advertisements, EVs appear simple and convenient, but in reality, charging remains a major challenge. While big cities may have charging stations, smaller towns, villages, and highways often lack reliable access. For long-distance travel, drivers worry about whether they'll find a charging station along the way, and what happens if it's not working. BYD realized that this concern isn't just about technology, it's about trust. Unless people feel confident that their vehicle will perform reliably in all situations, they won't fully embrace EVs. Another major issue is cost. Although there's a lot of discussion about EVs becoming more affordable, the truth is that many are still too expensive for the average buyer. Battery costs, concerns about replacement, and uncertainty around resale value all add to the hesitation. BYD recognized that while many people are interested in EVs, their budgets often don't allow it. In this scenario, hybrids offer a balanced solution. They reduce fuel consumption without the high upfront cost of a fully electric vehicle. Trust also plays a huge role, especially for people who have been driving petrol or diesel cars for years. They're used to the sound of an engine, the routine of refueling, and the reliability they've come to expect. While EVs bring advanced technology, many people worry about what might happen if something goes wrong. BYD understood that such a big shift can't happen overnight. People need time to build confidence in new systems. Hybrids serve as a bridge in this transition, combining the benefits of electric driving with the familiarity of a petrol engine. The company also recognized that not all countries are equally prepared for EV adoption. While places like China, Europe, and other developed regions are progressing quickly, many parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America still face challenges such as inconsistent electricity supply, limited charging networks, and underdeveloped infrastructure. In these markets, focusing only on EVs would mean leaving out a large number of potential customers. That's why BYD sees hybrids not as a compromise, but as a practical and well-thought-out solution. Importantly, BYD's investment in hybrids doesn't mean it's stepping away from EVs. Instead, the company is pursuing both paths simultaneously. It believes that a one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work in today's diverse global market. EVs are ideal in some conditions, while hybrids are more suitable in others. With this in mind, BYD designed its hybrid systems to rely more on the electric motor, reducing the role of the petrol engine. This leads to better fuel efficiency and a smoother driving experience. Now let's understand how BYD's hybrid engine actually works. At first glance, it may sound complex, but in reality, it's designed to be simple and user-friendly. The driver doesn't need to press extra buttons or manually switch between modes. You just start the car, and the system takes care of everything automatically. In simple terms, BYD's hybrid setup uses two main components, a petrol engine and an electric motor. However, they don't always operate together. For example, at low speeds, such as in city traffic during stop-and-go conditions or on short trips, the electric motor does most of the work. In these situations, the petrol engine either stays off or is used very minimally. This brings two major benefits. It saves fuel and makes the drive much quieter and smoother. Now imagine you're driving on the highway. As your speed increases or you need quick acceleration, the system automatically recognizes that extra power is required. That's when the petrol engine steps in. However, it doesn't work in the traditional way. In BYD's hybrid system, the engine mainly plays a supporting role. Instead of directly powering the wheels, it often charges the battery so the electric motor can continue driving the car. All of this happens so seamlessly that the driver doesn't even notice. Everything feels smooth and effortless. One of the biggest advantages of this system is that it's fully automatic. You don't have to think about whether the engine or motor is running. There's no need to switch between modes or press extra buttons. The car intelligently decides what's best for every situation. If the battery has enough charge and you're driving at low speeds, the electric motor takes over. If the battery runs low or more power is needed, the petrol engine automatically kicks in. These transitions are so smooth that most drivers won't even realize when the switch happens. Let's look at a simple everyday example. Suppose you drive to work daily, dealing with both traffic and open roads. In traffic, the car mostly runs on the electric motor, helping you save fuel. As soon as the road clears and your speed increases, the petrol engine begins to assist. When you go downhill or apply the brakes, the system captures energy that would normally be wasted and stores it back in the battery. This continuous energy recovery keeps the battery charged, so there's no need for frequent external charging. BYD has designed this hybrid system to be completely stress-free for the driver. You don't have to monitor battery levels or worry about when the fuel system will switch. The car handles everything on its own. That's why first-time hybrid drivers don't need to learn anything new. The experience feels just like driving a regular petrol car, only with better mileage and a more comfortable ride. Another key advantage is reliability. If the battery runs low, the petrol engine is there as a backup. And if you're running low on fuel, the electric motor can still handle short distances. This ensures that the car won't suddenly stop in the middle of the road, giving drivers a strong sense of confidence. This is also why many people see hybrids as a safe and practical stepping stone toward fully electric vehicles. Now, let's talk about maintenance and reliability. Whenever a new technology is introduced, the first concern people have is, what if something goes wrong? This concern is completely valid, especially when buying a car is such a major investment. People don't just think about mileage or features. They also consider long-term factors like servicing, durability, and ownership experience over the next 5 to 7 years. When people hear the term hybrid system, they often assume it's more complicated because it combines both an engine and a motor. Naturally, they think this might double the chances of something failing, but in reality, it's not as complicated as it sounds. BYD has designed its hybrid technology in a way that may seem advanced internally, but remains simple and practical for everyday use and maintenance. Let's start with the petrol engine. In a hybrid, the engine doesn't work as hard as it does in a traditional petrol car. Since the electric motor handles most of the driving, the engine runs less frequently, generates less heat, and experiences lower wear and tear. This means a longer engine lifespan and fewer maintenance issues over time. Now, coming to the electric motor and battery, This is where BYD truly stands out. Before entering the automobile industry, the company spent years specializing in battery technology. Because of this experience, it has placed a strong focus on safety and reliability in its hybrid systems. The battery used in a hybrid system is much smaller compared to a fully electric vehicle, so it operates under less stress. The system carefully manages charging and discharging, ensuring the battery wears down gradually rather than deteriorating suddenly. When it comes to maintenance, hybrid cars are quite similar to regular petrol vehicles. Components like engine oil, filters, and brakes remain the same and are familiar to most users. One noticeable difference, however, is that brake wear is reduced. This is because the system recovers energy during braking and stores it back in the battery. As a result, brake pads last longer, which helps reduce maintenance costs. In many cases, overall maintenance expenses are actually lower rather than higher. In terms of reliability, BYD designed its hybrid system with a simple goal. The car should keep running under any circumstances. If there's ever an issue with the electric system, the petrol engine acts as a backup. And if the engine isn't needed, the electric motor can handle the driving. This dual support system gives drivers peace of mind. They don't have to worry that a small issue will stop the car completely. Another important aspect is that BYD didn't treat its hybrid technology as an experimental project. Instead, the company focused on using tried and tested solutions. Rather than adding unnecessary complexity, it relied on fewer, more reliable components. That's why, even though the system may seem complex on paper, it feels stable, smooth, and dependable in real-world driving. Now let's understand why this technology is so important on a global scale. One common mistake people make is assuming that every country can adopt EVs at the same pace. In reality, the situation varies greatly from region to region. BYD recognized this early on, which is why hybrid technology plays such a crucial role in its strategy. The company understood that a solution that works in Europe or major urban centers may not work as effectively in other parts of the world, like Asia, Africa, or rural regions. Take Asia, for example. It has a massive population, and while big cities are developing quickly, the situation changes significantly outside urban areas. Charging infrastructure is improving in major cities, but in smaller towns and villages, it's still limited. In many places, electricity supply can be inconsistent, and EV charging is not always a priority. In such conditions, focusing only on EVs would exclude a large portion of potential users. That's why hybrids offer a practical alternative. They don't rely entirely on charging infrastructure. Now consider developing countries where buyers have very clear expectations. They want vehicles that are reliable, affordable, and capable of handling daily use without complications. Here, practicality matters more than cutting-edge technology. When people hear about EVs, their first concerns are usually about battery life, replacement costs, and charging availability. BYD understood that in such markets, change happens gradually, not instantly. Hybrids fit perfectly into this transition. They provide many of the benefits of electric vehicles while maintaining the reliability and familiarity of a petrol engine. The situation in rural areas is even more challenging. Charging stations are still rare, and in some places, even basic infrastructure like proper roads is lacking. This raises concerns about how EVs would perform in such environments. People in these areas need vehicles that can handle rough roads, long distances, and unpredictable conditions. Hybrid systems work well here because even if the battery runs low, the petrol engine ensures the journey continues without interruption. This flexibility means the vehicle can be used anywhere, at any time. Another important factor is the variation in fuel and electricity costs across different countries. In some regions, electricity is cheap, while in others, it can be expensive. Similarly, petrol prices vary widely. Electric vehicles are most beneficial where electricity is affordable and easily available. In places where that's not the case, hybrids offer a more balanced and practical solution. But in places where electricity isn't easily available or affordable, the advantages of EVs become limited. This is where BYD's hybrid system stands out because of its flexibility. It adjusts based on the situation. When electric driving is more efficient, the motor takes the lead. And when petrol is the better option, the engine steps in to assist. BYD also understood that government policies differ from country to country. Some nations actively support EVs with subsidies, while others offer little to no incentives. In certain regions, charging networks are expanding quickly, but in others, they are still in the early stages. In such a diverse environment, relying on just one type of technology can be limiting. BYD chose a more adaptable approach with hybrids, allowing it to operate across different markets without being restricted by infrastructure or policy differences. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a family living in a small town. For daily use, they mostly drive within the city, where the hybrid vehicle runs primarily on electric mode, keeping costs low. But once or twice a month, when they need to travel long distances, they don't have to worry about charging stations because the petrol engine is there to support them. This balance is what makes hybrids especially useful in countries where EV infrastructure is still developing. Now let's talk about BYD's pricing strategy. One of the biggest questions people have is, who are these hybrid cars actually for? Are they only meant for premium buyers, or can the average person afford them? BYD's approach makes this very clear. The company doesn't see hybrids as luxury products. Instead, it positions them between traditional petrol cars and fully electric vehicles. In simple terms, hybrids are designed for people who want to move beyond petrol cars but find EVs too expensive. BYD recognized that the price gap between petrol cars and EVs is one of the biggest barriers for buyers. Petrol cars may be cheaper up front, but are costly to run. EVs, on the other hand, are cheaper to operate, but expensive to purchase. BYD placed its hybrids right in the middle, keeping the initial cost reasonable while also ensuring lower running expenses. To achieve this, the company avoided oversized batteries and unnecessary expensive components. Instead, it focused on using only what's truly needed for performance and efficiency, rather than adding features just for show. Now, let's address mileage, which often confuses buyers. The mileage figures advertised are usually based on ideal test conditions. In real life, factors like traffic, road quality, and driving habits can significantly impact efficiency. BYD didn't ignore this reality. Instead of focusing only on lab results, it emphasized real-world performance. The benefits of a hybrid are most noticeable in city driving. In stop-and-go traffic, where frequent braking and idling occur, petrol engines typically consume more fuel. In BYD's hybrid system, the electric motor handles most of the work in these conditions. This means less engine noise, lower fuel consumption, and better efficiency. Additionally, the energy usually lost during braking is captured and stored back in the battery. That's why real-world mileage in city conditions often turns out to be better than expected. On highways, the system continues to maintain balance. The petrol engine plays a bigger role, but it doesn't carry the entire load. The electric motor supports it when needed, reducing strain and helping control fuel consumption. This doesn't mean mileage will always match the exact figures advertised, but it does ensure more consistent performance and a reliable driving experience across different conditions. Now comes an important question. Can this technology pose a challenge to EV companies? The answer isn't entirely straightforward. BYD hasn't positioned hybrids as a direct competitor to EVs, but rather as an alternative path. However, in markets where EV adoption is still slow, hybrids naturally draw attention away from fully electric vehicles. In such regions, many people think, why rush into buying an EV when a hybrid offers good fuel efficiency, lower cost, and doesn't require dependence on charging infrastructure? It's not really a battle between technologies. It's more about consumer mindset. Some people are ready to fully embrace EVs, while a large number still prefer something practical, reliable, and suited to current conditions. Hybrids fit perfectly into this space. That's why they quietly become a strong alternative, especially in countries where charging infrastructure, electricity reliability, and overall EV support systems are still evolving. When an average person goes to buy a car, they're not thinking about advanced technology first. Their focus is on practical, everyday concerns: how much it will cost each month, whether it's reliable, and if it will still hold value after a few years. BYD's hybrid system seems to be designed with exactly these questions in mind. It's not built for people who just want flashy technology, but for those who use their cars daily and expect a hassle-free experience. Let's start with cost. For most buyers, owning a car isn't just about the price in the showroom. It also includes fuel expenses, maintenance, and long-term affordability. This is where hybrid cars make a real difference. In city driving, where the electric motor handles most of the work, fuel consumption drops significantly. Over time, this directly saves money. By the end of the month, the lower running costs become clearly noticeable without requiring any extra effort from the driver. The next big factor is anxiety. Many people are interested in EVs, but they worry about charging. What if the battery runs out on the way or during a long trip? BYD's hybrid system removes most of that concern. It combines a battery and electric motor with a petrol engine, so there's no constant need to search for charging stations. The car works just like a regular vehicle. It's simply smarter behind the scenes. Reliability in everyday life is another major concern. People want a car that starts every morning, gets them to work, drops kids at school, and handles weekend trips without any stress. A hybrid system offers that confidence because it has two power sources. If the electric system isn't enough, the petrol engine is always there. And when you want to reduce engine load, the electric motor helps out. This built-in backup gives drivers a strong sense of security. Maintenance is also something buyers think about carefully. There's often a belief that new technology means higher maintenance costs, but with hybrids, that's not always true. Since the engine doesn't run all the time, it experiences less wear and tear. The braking system is also used differently, as energy is recovered and stored in the battery. This can reduce certain maintenance expenses over time. Most importantly, drivers don't need to change their habits. There's no need to plan charging stops or learn a completely new system. It feels just like driving a normal car. Now let's talk about resale value, which many buyers consider even before making a purchase. In many markets, there's still some uncertainty around EVs, especially regarding battery condition after 5 to 7 years and demand in the used car market. Hybrids offer a balanced solution here. Because they still have a petrol engine, second-hand buyers feel more confident that the car will remain usable in any situation. This added confidence can help maintain a more stable resale value. In the end, it comes down to simplicity and trust. No fear of high costs, no stress about new technology, just a reliable car that works smoothly every day. If you're interested in more updates on automobiles and technology to help you make informed decisions, consider subscribing to the channel Street Horsepower.